Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm in my I'm in my room, still intermittently tortured by the Israelis in the usual ways, but nothing is new. I will try to I will try to speak shortly regarding the issue of the paintings, because I thought about like the things that I've spoken about yesterday, and I have few additions. So first, I always, one of the like problems that I have like with regarding the analysis of how the Israelis act, and specifically how the Israeli intelligence act, is that I always forget how much whatever they do is actually done in order to get money. Like, it was a discovery for me. Like, I didn't know that it's true from the first place, because I mean I was naively, like everyone, I thought that they're either like work, that they try to protect the country, or maybe they're humans, so maybe they want to advance in their own organization and like acquire power and like glory and position in the organization. But in reality, they rarely do the first, and they almost never do the second. In reality, what they actually do is like they try to get money for their own pockets. And it was amazing to actually discover it, and I keep forgetting it, because it's so unnatural to me. I'm like, I need money, and I want money, and like I wish I had more money. I have nothing, but such greed is it's truly alien to me. Really, it is. I would say that almost no human desire or vice is strange to me. I understand. Of course, I'm sexually attracted to women, like good looking women, and I understand how that it could be very the sweet taste of victory and and power and respect. And certainly I like money, but I would say that even though I grew up in Israel, I cannot understand it's totally alien to me, how much they are so focused on money. It's and I know it sounds anti-Semitic, but it's a problem for me, because it hindered me very much in the past, and it still hinders me to actually understand who am I dealing with, and why are they acting the way that they do, because I cannot internalize, I cannot I cannot totally grasp their greed, which is truly amazing. I cannot understand it. I cannot relate to it. Yeah, I know what is money. I need money. I desperately need money, and I would like to have to have a lot of money. But I cannot understand people that are obsessed with everything they do is focused and only on this. It's amazing, and it's not only that they don't care about their job, and they don't care about protecting the country. They don't give a shit about the security of Israel at all. It's also that and this is actually surprising, that they don't usually, most of them don't care almost not at all about advancing in the organization, which is I would have thought that it's very natural human tendency, and oftentimes it leads to struggles and conflicts, and it's much of it is negative, even though it's necessary. It's kind of a necessary evil, but I would assume that humans in especially big organization and powerful organization would want to advance themselves, become more powerful. But even that is actually a weak force inside the Israeli intelligence. It's actually surprisingly weak force. They are only focused on money, and I cannot understand it. It's and because I cannot understand it, I often I don't reach the correct conclusions, because I do not accurately evaluate the motives of the motivations of the people around me. So I need to remind myself, these people are insane. They are insane. They don't care about anything at all. They just care about money. So, having said that, I mean, there is a possibility that, I mean, that now, I mean, that you have, I mean, that my mother or whoever else that, I mean, is operating here, like have the paintings that maybe, I mean, like the knowledge about the paintings, or like, I mean, the certain scientific analysis is kind of like a widespread, at least in several intelligence organization, but the painting themselves are in her possession or in the possession of someone that belongs to Israeli intelligence. And in that case, I mean, a logical conclusion, like when you understand like how much they are, I mean, everyone here is like, I mean, focused on money, is that, okay, I mean, so now that, I mean, the knowledge about like the paintings is widespread, so, I mean, they don't care about like, I mean, so it's like kind of like, I mean, it's a like a lost cause to try to hide it. But now, I mean, we can sell these photo paintings because presumably they worth a lot of money. So now they will try to sell it to other people abroad, like they always do, and for in order for the sale to be, in order to maximize profit, they will try to convince other people that they are unique. Because, I mean, that's the way that they think, so they are not unique. As I said, there are between 50 and 100 and of paintings, and they are, all of them are right here in this closet. And I mean, almost all of them, like, I mean, were, I mean, like photographs of the paintings in various stages was published in Facebook and Twitter. So if you have access to the account, and I mean, formally it's public, but I know that it's, I mean, it's not real public, but I mean, because it's controlled by the intelligence services. But I mean, if you have access to you can actually, I mean, watch almost all of it, because almost all of it is here. I mean, there are some exceptions, because sometimes I took like existing paintings and blackened all of it and paint on it, like what's called in a medieval, like terminology of art history, palimpsest, which is, I mean, why I did it, I mean, it sounds a little bit crazy, but actually it was done in it's got all sorts of like symbolic reasons, and it's an issue of, and it's like I would say it's kind of like a peculiar aspect of the art, of my art in itself, and but not like unheard of. Like, I mean, they said it's kind of like, I mean, it's actually known from art history, even before medieval times. But let's leave it aside. But almost all of it is here, and what I think I should do now, it's kind of like, I mean, like a manual, I would say, the manual labor of, like, I mean, just taking photographs of all of. Unfortunately, I don't have my camera here, like my EPM2 camera. I just use the iPhone, so I will photograph all of it, and I will not stretch it because I don't have, like, I mean, I don't really. So it will be like, I mean, in the canvas, I mean, not rolled, but I mean, not totally stretched, like as it. I mean, of course, and you understand, like, as it would be like if it was stretched. So, and I will take measurements of all of it. So, and I will create, like, I mean, an inventory. So, so I'll have like an inventory of all of the paintings, and each one, like, what's the size, and also what, I mean, type, like if it's a acrylic, oil, or mixture. And maybe even if I'll have like the energy, I'll try to figure out dates, like, I mean, of where. But usually there it was a process, and of course, I mean, I would want to sell it, but I mean, this can also only be done like if the actual person comes here and take it from me, the same way that my mother did. Because, as I've said in the past, I mean, I've already long ago reached the conclusion that this is a totalitarian country, and I cannot trust any, like, courier. And that's why I actually wanted to sell those paintings abroad, and I asked for, like, I didn't have a valid passport, so I asked for a passport, and it was issued to me like after a month or so, and 3 days after that I was arrested, and since then I'm arrested. So, I mean, you make up your own, like, conclusions on, like, the Israelis and their wicked ways. So that's the plan. But of course, I mean, it's not unique. I mean, my mother's boat. And also, I mean, the painter is not dead yet. I know that, I mean, Israelis would have wanted me, I mean, to die, because, I mean, now more than ever, this will make the paintings worth more. But, I mean, I hope that they will have a market even when the painter is still alive. And of course, I intend to paint more in the future, but now I don't have the physical conditions for it, because I'm under arrest and it's a small room. As I've said, probably in the future when I will paint, I will do it, I mean, in the first place with, I mean, painting colors, mixtures that were, I mean, mixed and with the Nero, I mean, juice. And actually I have several, like, I mean, little cans like this here. I already made, but I didn't use. And I actually did it in my mother's apartment, so they are actually even like older ones, but she didn't bring it to me. Maybe she can't identify it or something. I understand, because I mean the room and the house is full of, like, I mean, my mother's apartment is full of, like, I mean, all sort of, like, I mean, witches, like, I mean, witches canisters and like bottles and things that they're presumably taken from the alchemist shop. So I mean, maybe she can't like really identify what's what. So it's understandable. But yes, I mean, the sort of, like, I mean, of using the paintings as a vehicle for the Neros was present, but I mean only after, I mean, I started the research of the Neros, which was late, like, in the, I would say, career of paintings. Like, I mean, so almost all my paintings are from before that, from before that, the beginning of the research. So if they are actually, in any case, they are used like as a vehicle for the Neros, this is done by mistake or accidentally. So even though I did like have the notion of, like, I mean, because it was always like one of my objectives, like in one of my motivation to start, like, I mean the art, I mean to do art, which is, like, I mean, as they said, but it started around my birthday in 2022. So the initial motivation was very much, like, I mean, to create, like, physical things that will be evidence to my existence, because I always felt like, I mean, the Israelis want to make me disappear, and I still do, and it's still true. And I mean, it's not just a feeling; it's an objective reality. They try to eliminate my existence and like my footprints in this world, and they like I mean, doing, I mean, I mean, actually occupying myself with, like, physical works of art, I mean, it was a way, I mean, to try to at least somehow combat this tendency of, like, making me disappear, because these are, like, I mean, physical relics. So I mean, and I wasn't ashamed, or like I didn't feel presumptuous to actually like, I mean, to put like my body, like, my body in the, like, my body in the paintings. And this was done just from the beginning. It wasn't like, I mean, this was not related to the Neros. I didn't know, but I mean, I suspected. My theory was already back then in the day that my body is full of nanobots, and I spoke about it like years before, but it wasn't like in my conscious. Like, I mean, I was thought it's just there, and like, I mean, like, it wasn't like something that I spoke about or like thought about too much. But yes, I definitely, it was, I mean, the notion of like putting like my body inside the paintings was, I mean, as religious as it might sound, and the presumptions it might sound to someone might sound to someone. I mean, yeah, it was there right from the start. So I mean, I mean, even from the earliest paintings, I mean, actually the earliest paintings are literally just that, are the cave paintings with like the earliest works of art. If some of you remember, or I mean, you can see in Facebook, were actually, I mean, cave paintings. Like, I mean, like prints of my hand and the hands of my daughters. This is actually done, like, I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, it's done in many kindergartens today for all sorts of reasons, and sometimes it's like acts like as a memorabilia for parents. But for me, it was like something kind of like, I mean, I actually wrote about it back in the day. It was a way to, I mean, like to convey the intention that I need like a physical like witness to myself and my daughter, and also it was there was a lot of technical, I mean, issues. There were many technical issues because I wanted it to be like not in the way that they do it in kindergarten, but to emulate like cave paintings, but in kind of like a modern. But let's not get into it because I written about it in the past and spoke about it. I don't know if it's accessible to anyone, or if it's of interest, but it was actually very, very, I mean, I would say both technical and kind of like theoretical thing that I just this was the earliest paintings actually. But and I've tried like to put my fingerprints. I mean, the fingerprints are there, I mean, naturally, but also like to print them on oil, so it will be more visible. And so almost all my paintings, they have these fingerprints, like, I mean, in the red oil. This is very common, and like, I mean, and ash from cigars. I at the time I thought maybe it contains. I understood that I don't have like human DNA, but I thought maybe something that is equivalent to DNA, and this was actually correct because this ash contains Neros, but I didn't know it at the time. But yes, I mean, some paintings contains ash. The one that contains the most actually was lost. I mean, I just threw it away, which was the huge Israeli flag, but other contains ash as well, and even blood. Like, I mean, I didn't cut myself intentionally, but sometimes when I cut myself, like shaving, I just, I mean, I took drops of blood and just, I mean, put it like on like empty canvases. So later, when these canvases were used for paintings, it's kind of like they had like my blood, even my blood as well. Sounds creepy, I know, but I mean, yes, it was always my intention that to make it like as an evidence. So so in this regard, there is a question that is interesting to me, and maybe now you, whoever you are, if you have access to these paintings, and presumably you have better microscopes than I am, you can actually answer it. I can actually also, I mean, try to get the answers myself, but this first of all, I mean, it will be difficult for me to do it without ruining the painting, and I don't want to ruin my paintings. And also, again, my microscope is not like you have. Probably whoever you are have better microscopes than I am. So this is actually the question. The question is, it's like that. I mean, it is known to me since, like, and I've spoken about it, that oil is a good, or painting oil and oil in general is a good mixture, like a medium to store the neurons. And they are like engines, like, I mean, they are better kept on oil, like, and then and it's very bad, like, to store them in water, for example, unless, I mean, the water contains like huge, like some kind of a mixture of oils and beeswax and things like that. But I mean, if it's just water, it's not good for them at all. They die. So in this aspect, they are like little engines, and so and they also create things from the oil. Like, I mean, they actually created sculptures, even non-microscopic ones, from the red oil in my mother's apartment. The 3 microscopic, non-microscopic, very interesting sculptures, actually. I don't have it here. I hope that it's still in my mother's apartment in one of the containers. So I wouldn't be surprised entirely to that. I mean, if the oil paintings actually, I mean, act like it's as aquariums for aliens, because they were both. I mean, they contain oil and they contain neurons from my spit or whatever, or my I mean, like my sweat, and they contain. I mean, and then there were like life forms, because I mean, it was. I always paint, like, I mean, in the balcony in Shoam, or in the balcony of my mother's apartment. I mean, it's all open like. It's so, like, I mean, and even if it's in the house, like, I mean, yeah, I mean, microbes are probably, I mean, find a way in there, and it's, I mean, it got a lot of like energy because of all the pitch, like, I mean, you know, the pitch, like sound attacks, the electricity attacks that I was always subjected to, both in my mother's apartment and, of course in Shoam as well. So I mean, there wasn't a time during my painting career, starting 2022, that I wasn't constantly under attack from my neighbors, like of both like electric attack and sound attacks. It was always like that. So presumably the Neros, maybe use this like electricity and sound attacks to gather energy for to multiply and to create the mutants and synthetics and whatever that we know that they do from the many aquarium experiments that we had with microscope here in this hostel. So it's not totally surprising that paintings will be de facto will be alien aquariums. There is still the question but so and you can actually verify it, and I guess that you have already had because of many reasons and the many messages, but also it makes sense. But now there is a question. First of all, as I said, you have better microscope. I would be very happy to see photographs from better microscope is better optics and various microscopic styles. And if you have electron microscope, it's amazing actually to watch the Neros with electron microscope. It probably is mind-boggling. But there is also the question of the mediums, because what I don't know if they can survive in acrylic. Acrylic is very different than oil. It dries much faster, and chemically it's completely different. And it's completely different. And there is two completely. Both are used many times by the same artist because the technique, is somehow similar. It is similar. Compared to other types of paintings, like water or gouache or whatever. But chemically they are very, very different. Even though they are mixed well, not with each other, but after the layer dries, you can mix them in the same painting with great success, but not one with each other. But you need to wait until one dries. Usually you start with the acrylic because it dries much faster, and then you can add oil layers, and this is something that I actually done quite a lot, and I actually done it quite a lot exactly in those two paintings that my mother bought. These are not they are far from I would say typical oil paintings that I have. Most of my oil paintings are made with much higher with much more that are made with thick layers of oil actually. And this is actually not true for these two paintings. I even have paintings from the space opera genre that I call the lava tubes, paintings of the moon, fantastic moons that are fantastic representation of moons, of huge moons, with the lava tube. It's something that I had I've done both in the beginning of the in the beginning of 2022, and I came back to it. Last September, October, September, and I've had actually quite very nice, I think, oil photographs of from the lava tube. So these were done only with oil, it's 6 layers of oil. But actually, so I would suspect that this kind of painting would maybe you can find a lot of alien Neros and alien life forms on it. Because all of them are they're all again subjected to radiation by the neighbors, both in Shoam and in Rishon LeZion, and the moon paintings, the big and in general big oil paintings, but actually these two from the Titanomachi series, they're actually not typical oil paintings because they were initially certainly the close-up, the what they call Titanomachi, which is kind of can be interpreted as a detail from the second one. According to one interpretation, it's like a detail from Titanomachi 2. So Titanomachi 1, I would say that it can be interpreted as a detail from Titanomachi 2. Certainly, it was done initially only in acrylic. and this can be this was because I wanted like the psychedelic effect, and that is more easily achieved with acrylics. But later I added a couple of months later I've added like a layer of oil. So there is definitely oil in this. So I've added a layer of oil to it, but it was not like a covering layer. Just like a detailed layer of details with oil and new colors and new details. But it's still, I would say, made mostly of acrylic actually, but with oil layer. And also I've added the symbolic details, both in the main paintings and in the background. And so this is actually made mostly from acrylic. So I don't know if you can find it's interesting to if you can actually find like Neros and like alien life forms and mutants and synthetics in it, even if when most of it is actually made from acrylic. And if you can, is there like a difference between what you can find inside like the acrylic, places in the photograph, in paintings, and what you can find in the areas where there is another layer with of detail with oil. Now the second Tintano Machitu, so definitely the background is acrylic, or gesso with black acrylic. Even though later I used black oil for background, but not in this one. And I am almost certain that the earth, it's called also be interpreted as the eye, and the main object in the main round object with visibly the map of Israel. So this give credence to the earth interpretation. Was certainly done in acrylic covered with oil, and the spaceships are, I think, mixed oil and acrylic again, but not only oil. So it's not a typical oil painting actually. So again, the same question is, can you actually find Neros and life forms in it, and can you see a difference between the places in the paintings that there is only acrylic background or acrylic with acrylic details, or in the places where there is there is an oil layer? It's an interesting question. So as I said, I have other paintings that have the characteristics, so I can try to figure it out myself, but this will require me to of course take samples from the paintings, which is possible, but will require it will be some kind of you should do it very gently, not to hurt it. And also probably you have better microscope, so it's an interesting question. I would say that if you did find life and Neros, life form, alien life forms and Neros in one of these paintings, and my guess is that you did, but so if this is the case, probably, almost certainly, but not certainly, not 100%, but probably you can find much more in big oil paintings, like the one I mentioned of the Lab Tube series, that are made with much more oil and almost only oil. Apart from the background of gesso and acrylic. Unless, surprisingly, something that I didn't even test because I never found it even remotely possible. But there is an option that I never tested it. It's actually easy. It's difficult to test it. There's also the option that actually they like acrylic very much, and the Neros, and for some kind of for some reason they actually enjoy the acrylic medium. But I didn't test it because, first of all, I didn't found it plausible, and second, it's difficult to actually check it because acrylic dries. So I mean, and it's difficult with the microscope that I have, which is the normal black light microscope, to actually, I mean, see anything with the dry material, because I mean, it's backlight microscope. You need like it works only on, like, I mean, very thin layers of transparent or translucent material, which is true to oil in various levels of like drying. But acrylic is just like a stone. So how can I even test it? I don't know. How can I even test like acrylic material, like samples, like, I mean, with my microscope? But maybe, I mean, there is like a slim chance that the neos actually, I mean, can create like ecosystem inside the acrylic. But this will be extremely peculiar, because again, it's like, I mean, it's like rock. It's just like rock. And also, will be, I mean, this would certainly require microscopes of the kind that I don't have in my possession. So that's it.